many of you have plans to address this last quarter of the school year? And how many of you have data from August and September? And how many of your teachers will be mentally shutting down as it affects your instruction and classroom management? If you want to know how to do this, you're in the right place. And if you need direction, you're in the right place. Today, we'll be discussing 3 quick and easy ways to see if your leadership is on schedule. Welcome to another episode of Principals on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories. Well, we made it to the last quarter of the year. We're still adjusting from the beginning of the year, adapting to changes. We still don't know many of our students because they're all wearing masks. We're still trying to get over COVID as it has affected our community, our schools. We have experienced losses through COVID, through violence, and through other types of illnesses. And it has been a really tough time. We cannot ignore everything that we have gone through these past couple of years with COVID. But at the same time, we need to take a look at what we're doing and how we can impact students. We're dealing with discipline problems because we haven't mastered a discipline system. But in the midst of it all, at the end of the school year, there will be only one thing that counts, and that will be performance improvement for all students. You have the month of October for the full focus of instruction and intervention. Remember, November brings a week off, and December celebrations last 2 weeks. What plans do you have for this last quarter? And what data do you have for August and September? And can you trust the data? What activities do you have to build focus and improve student performance? And why is it important to incorporate the community in changing your school's culture? Hi, my name is Barbara Polk, and I am known as a turnaround principal. I was assigned to the lowest performing campus in my district to turn around, and it was one of the lowest performing campuses in the state of Texas. With me and my team, we were able to turn that school around in a year's time, and after 8 years, it never went back to low performing. I was chosen by the Harvard Graduate School of Education, their Urban School Institute, to go in there and work with principals and assistant principals from throughout the United States and other countries to work on students that were low performing, communities that had low performing students, to see what we could do to bring them up so that they never returned to low performing. I was also assigned by the Texas Education Agency to go into schools that were low performing because of the success that we had at our schools. And we got those schools turned around. So we do have some hallelujah success stories out there. So before I get started, what I want you to do, I want you to hit that invite button. If you're on the Principals on the Come Up private Facebook page, at the top of the page, you have the invite. Hit that invite button, and you can invite your friends and your colleagues to join into our organization. Hello, Miss LaWanda Finney. You are amazing as well. Dr. Finney was a cohort, and she did an amazing job with our community involvement. I won't say amazing, I'll say phenomenal. And she's known throughout the state and throughout the nation as a phenomenal advocate for our parents. So thank you, Dr. Finney, for being with us today. If you are watching from YouTube, I want you to hit the subscribe button, because I know you have some friends and some colleagues out there who need to hear this, because we have so many things that we do as principals. And so we have to have somebody to come and say that you need help. These are the things that you need to do. So today we're going to be talking about 3 things to prepare you for the last quarter. And the first thing is refresh. That's right, refresh. So at the beginning of the school year, everyone was getting ready with hiring, with new assignments, new orientation, beginnings of school, welcome back celebrations. And we, have since lost some family members, and we've had some community setbacks as well. You have experienced setbacks, principals, to your original plans that just didn't work, that you didn't anticipate. And you have celebrated a few successes of your own during this short period that we've been back to school. But it's time now to refresh and to restart. It's time to bring a focus back on what it is that it's going to take us to do in order to have a successful school year. So the first thing we want to look at is to restate the vision you have for your school. For example, do you want to see 1 year increase in growth for all students in math and reading? Is that your vision? Could that be your vision? 100%? Remember, your vision is what you believe that your school could do. Hello to Pauline Francois. Good evening. Good evening. Does your staff know that? Does your staff know your vision? Have you brought your leadership team together and shared that vision with them so they could go out into the school community and have documentation to support that this is the vision of our school for this year? What is the mission? What is the mission? Now, I know you say, oh man, vision, mission, core values. Well, guess what? You have to have your vision in order to know whether you are making any type of progress. And your mission is just going to talk about what are the things you are going to do to get your vision taken care of, to make sure that you do see the improvement. And how are you going to get all of your students to increase performance by 1 year? What are you going to do? Do you want them to be addressed as scholars? Do you believe all students can learn? And sad to say, there are teachers in our schools who do not believe all of our students can learn. We're talking about our students who are in our regular ed program, our students who are in our ELL program, our students who are in our special ed program, our children who are severely handicapped. Can they improve? Yes, they can. Does everybody in the school, do all the teachers believe that? Sadly to say, they don't all believe it. But you as the leader have to show that you believe it, and that is your expectation. Do you welcome the community? And do you have evidence to support that you welcome the community? Do you do school-wide systems to support discipline? Now, as far as communicating with your community, what evidence, what receipts do you have? Do you do anything on Facebook? Do you do anything on Instagram? Have you thought about the kinds of surveys that you can have? And have you set up a way for you to communicate back to those who participate, to those parents and those community members, to see just what they said and how you intend to change and make the changes that you found from your survey? You know, during my time as a principal, we would only, and I hate to say this, we would only do surveys when, oh, we got this these people coming in to evaluate us. And here is the survey. And we want everybody to do the survey. We want the students to do the survey. The parents, well, how are we going to get the parents to do the survey? Oh my goodness. You and your team will figure that out. And the questions, they can be standard questions. They will not have to be questions that are made up specifically for your school building, because all of us have the same experiences. And then when you look at the results of the survey, then you can tell what you need to make changes, where you need to make changes. So one of the comments from the parents said that we didn't start our parent meetings on time. Oh, okay, okay, all right, parents. So that told us that we were not respecting our parents' time. They had been working all day just like us, and we stayed in our place at our school, but they had to leave their home, take care of the children, get to that parent meeting, and then rushing and then finding out that we're not starting on time. We promised parents that we would start our parent meeting at 6 and it would be over at 7. And those were the expectations that we were not living up to. Another parent said that the parking after school pickup was terrible. It was terrible. And we had to sit down as a team and come up with ways to improve our parking. And we did make changes. We divided our sixth graders, and we had parents to go to the back of the building to pick them up. And for our seventh and eighth graders, we had them to be released at the front of the building. After a time, we decided that we would release our sixth graders first, get those little babies out and to their parents before we release the seventh grade and the eighth grade. Sometimes we would release them we were a two-story building. Sometimes we would release them by first floor, our seventh and eighth graders, and sometimes we release them by second floor. So it was always fun at the end of the school day to see which floor would be released first. But all of that came about through surveys. So it's time for a refresh. It's time for a refresh. It's time to look back at what you have and see what's working and see what's not working and fix it. So you do have some data for August and September. But it's the strange thing that everybody is passing in August and September. Everybody's making good grades during that first reporting period, whether it's 6 weeks or 9 weeks. Everybody is just doing a great job. And then when it comes to that second reporting period, we find that we have all these failures. So the teachers will say, well, that first reporting period, the standards weren't as hard. So these standards are more of a challenge. So does that mean because the standards are more of a challenge that our children have to fail? Does it mean that? Or does it mean that we as principals have to come up with a way to work with our teams and our teachers to make sure that our students are understanding those standards and then give them the assistance that they need, and then make sure that they can be passing the same way they were during the first reporting period? Is that difficult to do? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is a difficult job because we are impacting the entire community as teachers, as leaders. We are the ones who are bringing about a change in our community. Has this been tough times? Oh, yes, absolutely. Will times get better? Yes, they will. Will we be able to survive? Yes, we will. We can't do it by ourselves. That's why I'm here. That's why I come on every week. I have gone through experiences. I'm able to have experiences in buildings and online information that the principals just don't get a chance to do because they're doing their day-to-day operation. That's just how it goes. So what activities can you do to build focus and improve student performance based upon the data that you have? Is and can is that data good? Can you go back? Can you work with your team? Can you have your team to give you receipts? Show me why this data is the way it is. And then it's important, of course, to include your community. For example, why would you have PTA meetings at 10 o'clock in the morning or at 4:30 in the afternoon when you know your school is being dismissed at 4 o'clock? Why would you have a 4:30 parent meeting? Some parents still are in line. Some parents haven't even picked their kids up yet. They are feverishly trying to get to that school to pick their kids up, and the lines are long. So why would you? Are you thinking of the community, or are you thinking of yourself? Are you thinking of things that are convenient for you? And principals, I'm telling you, that is not the way you improve your community. Number 2, hashtag inspect. Inspect what you expect. Paula is saying, I love listening to you. Good information about schools and our community. Thank you. Appreciate that, Pauline Francois. Inspect what you expect. Have you inspected what you expect? Do your teachers know what you expect? Have you given them your expectations in writing? Some form, some way to check that they understand. You know, during the beginning of the year, the instructional leader has lots of I's to dot and T's to cross. You're moving fast and furious. You've been able now to get a pulse of the school, especially the pulse of the teachers. And you know who your supporters are now, and you know who your distractors are. You've been given directives from central administration and supervisors, and some of the directives that you've received, they just don't fit. So do you know what teachers are hitting it out the park? Do you know what teachers need support? And the directives that you receive from central administration and supervisors, they are not fitting with your vision and your mission and your core values. How are you going to work that out? Your teachers are looking to you for leadership and support. You have established, you and your team of teachers have decided what is the vision of your school and how you're going to get it done. What is your plan? What is your leadership plan? How are you helping those teachers? How are you supporting the permanent substitutes? Now, I've always had permanent substitutes on my campus. You know, in urban schools and especially our rural schools, we always have substitutes. That's just a part of our culture. And I know that I did not focus as much as I should have on my substitute teachers. I was just blessed to have a good leadership team who could help me, who could see things that I didn't see, who could step in and to support those substitute teachers. I also know that I had to respect those substitute teachers the same way I respected my teachers. They have to be included as one, included within the flow, recognized as teachers, because that's what they are. They are our teachers. We ought to respect them. And year after year, if you expect those substitute teachers to come back, then you have to respect them. You have to respect their schedules. You have to listen to what they see as far as instruction in the classroom. Remember, they don't have contracts. They don't get paid during that week of Thanksgiving, those 2 weeks of December that we're out. They don't get paid. While we are flying off into different places, and we know that at the end of a payroll reporting period, our check is in our account. Substitute teachers, they don't have that luxury. So we are to treat them as precious cargo. Treat them as precious cargo. We have some who are talking about the way they enjoy your leadership and the way you stand up for them. And they are inviting others who have the opportunity to come to your school. I remember every morning with the morning announcements, if I knew that we had substitutes in the building, my direction to those students that day is to respect your substitute teacher. They're here, they're visitors on our campus. And when they leave our campus, we want them to go out into the community and talk about what a fine school we have and what great students we have at our school. We love our school and we want them to love them as well. Help them as much as you can and respect them the same way you respect your regular teacher. I know that may have been, a long story on substitute teachers, but they are just so critical. Sometimes people talk around the custodial staff or the cafeteria staff. They hold conversations as if our custodians and our cafeteria staff or our aides are just invisible. Yeah, some people do that. But my point is that everybody on your campus is important. Everybody wants to be a part of a winning environment. Everybody wants to be a part of the hallelujah success story. Number three. Did I do two? Number three, modify. So now that you have the data, what are you going to do with it? Question: how many classes did you visit last week? How many classes have you visited so far? Who is helping you coordinate your schedule? And what is your schedule for classroom visits? Have you coordinated your visits with your leadership team? Are you doing all of the visits? And I'm talking about visits just not for evaluations, visits to see what's going on in each classroom. Seeing how Hakeem acts in his 8th grade math class versus the way he acts in his ELA class. You're establishing relationships. How and when do you schedule follow-up visits of your observations with your teachers in a timely manner? They want to know, did I do this okay? Did I do this all right? Even though it was informal. Did I do this okay? Could I have changed here? Or could I have changed there? They want to know. Who is helping you do this? Who is holding the hands of the new teachers besides your mentors? And your mentors are teachers who have a full-time schedule themselves. What are you doing to make sure that those teachers are being taken care of? What are you doing? How are you impacting what's going on in those classrooms? Are you meeting with your new teachers on a every 2 weeks or monthly basis to find out what it is that they have been doing or what they don't understand or the kinds of challenges they're having in the classroom? Are you meeting with them on an ad hoc type of environment where you can say every morning before you check in to school, I'll be in my office with my door half open, and all you have to do is knock and come in and sit down, and we can talk about some things that you're concerned about. So what that does is that makes them really think how they can compress what it is their concern. And you, as the principal, will have the opportunity to take notes about what it is they're concerned about. It's just that simple. That's your modification. Are you fully engaged in PLCs? Do you go to your PLC? Is your name on the agenda? Are you there to support your instructional coach, or are you running the PLCs yourself? And I would recommend that you have your instructional coach to run the PLC, but you be there to make sure that you see what's going on so that you can guide what's going on. That's critical. Are goals being met? Do teachers know what the goals are? Do they know that your vision is to have all students to improve by 1 year at the end of that school year? Do they know that? Do you have receipts to show that they know that? Is your secretary or your administrative assistant involved with these plans so they can support you? You cannot do all of this by yourself. You need your team. You need your secretary or your administrative assistant. You need your instructional coach. You need your assistant principal. You need your counselor, or any other support that you think that will be advantageous to being a part of your leadership team. You have teachers who are working on their master's degrees. They want to become administrators. Oh, hallelujah. Include those people on your team. They're looking to you. They're keeping you aware of what's going on new since you were in school. They love doing projects. They love for you to help them do their projects. Because what you're doing, you are training the next principals. During the time that I was principal, when my assistant principals left, they left to become principals. And they said, we used everything that we learned in school, and we transferred what we learned in school from watching the things that we were doing at our school. And we got our job as as principals. That's just the way it goes. That's the way it's supposed to be. That is the way it's supposed to be. And as a matter of fact, one of my teachers right now is the principal of the school where she was a teacher. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's who we should have in mind as we are going throughout our day, as we are closing our days out. You know, as I go into schools, I see principals and I see teachers struggling. Sometimes they're struggling with discipline, which we, recommend that they do some type of management plan, discipline management plan. Of course, the plan that really worked for us was restorative practices, where you have follow plans that you are to use every day with your teachers and your students. And it doesn't happen all at once. It doesn't happen all at once. It takes a while because lots of people are not going to believe in it. But you pick out those people who you know are interested, who you know will be able to share that information with other teachers and share your successes, and you will find out that it will work. So now, if you're not a member of Principals on the Come Up, what are you waiting for? Just hit that invite button to invite your friends. And if you're interested in a free consultation, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You know you need this. You want to have a hallelujah success story, and we're here to help you do that. You can contact me at barbaraypoke.com for a free consultation because we want our schools to be the best. And we want our schools to be hallelujah success stories. So we thank those of you who were visiting us tonight. And we shall see you next week on Principles on the Come Up, where we transform schools into hallelujah success stories.